Today is Thursday, August 15th, and I'm just wondering if it isn't time for the Texas Rangers to pull the plug on this season. In 1993, Bob opened the original Bob's Steak and Chop House on Lemon Avenue. 32 years later, the original Bob still greets you at the original Bob's. And now his sparkling new Bob's at Craig Ranch has opened in McKinney. Same fantastic beef and fresh seafood at these two Bob's, each run by the Bob's Steak and Chop House.
And now a word from our title sponsor.
Are all financial advisors fiduciaries? Fewer than you think. Not knowing could reduce your lifestyle. Hi, I'm Mitch Kramer, founder and CEO of Fluent Financial. A fiduciary is a regulatory term to reduce conflicts of interest in wealth management. A fiduciary always works in your best interest. A non-fiduciary advisor might put their compensation or company ahead of yours. At Fluent Financial, we are certified financial planners acting as fiduciary advisors. To learn more, go to fluentfinancial.com or Fluent Financial's YouTube channel.
Star Power Smart Home Solutions, where cutting-edge technology meets effortless living. Control your entire home with just a tap on your smartphone. Adjust the lights, set the perfect temperature, and ensure your home is secure, all from the palm of your hand. Star Power has the experts that will transform your house into a secure, smart home. Experience the ultimate solution in comfort and security for your family. Get started at GetStarPower.com. Star Power, where innovation meets home.
Before we get to the Rangers and their situation, it's football season starting in a couple of weekends. For 40 years, I've put out the picks of the poll every Friday on radio, and now they're available to you by email. Over the years, we've had a pretty solid record. Last year, we started slowly in the first 2 weeks, but then ripped off 10 winning weeks out of the next 12. It is easy to sign up for the picks of the poll, and at a very reasonable price, $125 for the entire season. To sign up, you go to justwonderingpodcast.com/picks. justwonderingpodcast.com/picks. Then every Friday at around noon, my picks for the weekend on college and pro football games will be delivered to you by email. Again, justwonderingpodcast.com/picks. Okay, now on to the Rangers. The defending world champions have been in a downward spiral now for weeks. They've lost each of their last 6 series. And the gap between them and Houston seems to grow by the day. Wednesday at Boston, as the game started, Texas, by record, was the 24th team out of 30 in Major League Baseball. That's right, the Rangers were only better than 6 teams in Major League Baseball. Now, when Wednesday started, they were 9.5 back of Houston, but only 3 games ahead of the dreadful LA Angels. Here's how dire the situation is. If surging Houston stops and goes only 15-15 in their next 30 games, Texas would have to go 25-5 to catch them. And that wouldn't even ensure that they got to first place, because the Mariners, if they put up a record like 18-12 or 19-11, the Rangers would still be behind them. And the gap to wild card is even greater than it is to the gap to Houston. The season has been sucked down the drain by the offense. Oh, I know the pitching's been bad the last 4 weeks or so, But the entire season, this offense has been dreadful, which we've detailed a couple of times during our podcast. There's nothing General Manager Chris Young could do about this. You can't just go out and get 4 or 5 new starters to your lineup, replacing dreadful slumping players who in past seasons had been much better than this. The Rangers had hung a hope that young third baseman Josh Young, when he returned to health, could kickstart the offense. But in Wednesday's game against Boston, Young was on the bench because in his last 31 at-bats, he was hitting 194, had struck out 14 times, and not walked at all. The pitching held solid through, I'd say the All-Star break. But then Max Scherzer got hurt again, and Jon Gray got hurt again, and they're still out. Eovaldi is trying to pitch through pain. He's been pushed back a start this week, but he's basically playing hero pitcher right now. Molly is back, but he's being carefully monitored because he's a guy, good pitcher, coming back from Tommy John surgery. The bullpen has been injured and erratic. So, what would pulling the plug on this season look like? Well, let's start with the offense. Bring up Justin Foscue and Dustin Harris from the minor leagues. Foscue would replace Nathaniel Lowe at first base. Harris would go into left field, and the left fielder Wyatt Langford would be the full-time DH. Now, he could also be in center field, maybe sharing that spot with Leody Taveras. And in those days, Josh Smith, who's really struggling right now, could play DH. Sadly, Texas doesn't have a pitcher in the minor leagues to bring to the major leagues right now. Maybe Jack Leiter to come up and pitch in relief, but this is a symbol of something. At trade deadline time, General Manager Young virtually didn't have anybody to offer from the minor league system that other teams would be interested in. So, let's keep moving on in pulling the plug. Let Cody Bradford stay in the starting rotation and see if he's a viable option for the rotation in 2025. Do the same with Molly, but carefully monitor his workload. Jacob deGrom looks like he might be ready to pitch in September, coming off Tommy John surgery. Hey, 2 innings, 3 innings, just get him 20, 25 innings in September, just so he can feel good about the fact that he's fully on the way back from his surgery. By the way, his second Tommy John surgery. Shut down Max Scherzer and Jon Gray. Let them heal. Let Eovaldi get to 200 innings, which would guarantee next year $20 million. Work on contracts for free agents to be, like Kirby Yates and David Robertson, who have been very good at the back of the bullpen. Don't worry about the terrible offense. These are good players who all got caught in this terrible vortex. How could you ever think that 6 or 7 guys would fall off like this? In effect, the off-season begins now. Oddly, at this time last year, Texas was just getting ready for a surge that would put rings on everybody's fingers.
Today's episode brought to you by
Fluent Financial. Retire sooner, better lifestyle. By Star Power. Love where you live.
And by Bob's Steak and Chop House.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Just Wondering. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit follow, and then every weekday, a fresh new episode will be delivered right to you. And should you know other people who might enjoy it, please share it with friends. The executive producer and sometimes on-air talent of Just Wondering is my wife, Mary Dans. The producer is Mike Matern. The technical director is IndyCar Tim Hand from FanStream Sports. We really appreciate your being with us. This is fun to do, and I hope it's fun for you too. And realize that every day, I'll be just wondering about something.
And I'm Mary Hitchkus, and I'm just